Good morning and welcome to Summit. I am Jumoke Michaels. Today on the program we are examining the state of the nation, talking about the economy, security, governance, and the way forward. Joining me on this program today is a public affairs analyst, an attorney at law, and a man who understands both the legal foundation and policy realities of our country, Barrister Jide Ologun. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome. It's
You're
my
welcome,
pleasure.
Sir.
Thank
All right.
you.
So we're talking about the state of the nation. So it's going from one issue to another, just to be able to talk about how we are faring in Nigeria. But in your opinion, let's begin broadly. How would you describe the current mood and general state of the nation in today? And what's spoiling that sentiment the most?
Thank you very much. The biggest concern now for the Nigerian citizens and the international community is the insecurity in the country. Recall that recently it took Donald Trump to speak from the USA that there is Christian genocide going on in Nigeria. And in responding to that, the authorities came up that no, it's not just Christians that are being killed or Muslims are being killed, but the reality is that the insecurity in Nigeria is of gross concern to the extent that when the president and commander-in-chief of the armed forces, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, decided to act on it, and he gave an instruction that the policemen attached to VIPs be withdrawn. Some members of the House of Representatives came out to say that they were now exposed to insecurity. And the big question is that is security a special privilege or ownership of the elite in the society? What we have in Section 14, subsection 2 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended is that the security and the welfare of the citizens shall be the primary purpose of government. But good a thing that the government is waking up now to that reality, and a lot of revelations are coming out. I read yesterday when the former Chief of Defense Staff, General Irabo, was trying to tell us that even though this insecurity in the country may have multifaceted fountains, but that you cannot rule out the fact that there are some sponsors of the crime in the land, and which we have been speaking to this regularly in the past. And some came up with the fact that the illegal mining in Nigeria is a factor. There are some who kill for religious reasons. There are some who kill for ideological reasons. And you can imagine the kidnappings. It's quite embarrassing. So right now is the insecurity, and it's closely tied to the economy, because when you have a country that is not secured, definitely the economy will perform poorly.
All right, so are you saying that the issue of insecurity is the biggest indicators of trouble, or that troubles you the most presently in Nigeria?
For me, I'm not troubled personally because, I've not subscribed to fear. But it's embarrassing being in a nation so blessed like Nigeria, and the narrative about the country is that it is insecure. In fact, when you have those who are in diaspora, some of them wonder from the reports they read about Nigeria, how many people are left there, and we call that image in public relations. And when you now come to the angle of the reputation is that the government appears not to be doing enough to curb the insecurity. And it's a concern for a public relations practitioner like myself. And of course, as a constitutional lawyer also, I know, like I quoted earlier, that the government has a critical, in fact, primary responsibility of securing lives and properties. And when you bring it to the business angles, that is what we call economic environment of a nation. When investors are coming in to invest in Nigeria, the profile, how secure is the country. So when expatriates come in here and they are kidnapped, when there is a constant uncertainty about the atmosphere of the nation, economically and otherwise, then they look elsewhere to host their investment. So a lot of issues are attached, and that is why the Constitution says in Section 14, subsection 2, that security and the welfare of the citizens shall be the primary purpose of government. Because what has been discovered also is that because of the harsh realities of the economy, some are pushed into crime. We may say that it's not a moral argument that hunger should not push you to crime, but it's not everyone that is so disciplined to say no matter how hungry I am, I won't go into crime. For some, and you now see the symptoms. We now have many young ones out of school. Majority of schools in the northern part of the country have been shut. Some will never return to school. So which means the Boko Haram may appear to be winning, because the intention of Boko Haram right from the onset was to wipe out Western education in Nigeria. You see that Western education is forbidden. And when you don't educate the younger ones, then where are we going? We have many children out of school. So it's a hydra-headed problems. But basically the insecurity and the economy that are tied together are really on the front burner right now.
All right, so in spite of heavy spendings and new strategies that the government has come up with on this issue of fight against insecurity, you know that recently the service chiefs were changed and the new set were brought in just a few weeks back. Now, would you say that the challenge of insecurity is operational, political, or legal? How would you look at that?
It's not legal.
Okay.
Except to the point that it's difficult to hold the government accountable for fulfilling the mandate in Section 14, subsection 2 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended. There's an outside clause that says you cannot sue on that. Otherwise, we may say that we have an illegal government that has failed to carry out the mandate of the law. Because what Section 4 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended says is that the National Assembly is empowered to make laws for the peace, orderliness, and good government in Nigeria. So if that law has been made and the government is not complying, we may call that an illegality. And now, let's talk about the operational aspect. Yes, many players in that environment have been demoralized. I mean, I couldn't watch how the Brigadier General was killed by the terrorists. I mean, I won't watch it. I've read about it. It's disheartening how soldiers have been killed. Yes, the country is pounding on the terrorists. Those are the reports we are getting. But we have elements of compromise. Right now, the soldiers who left those schools before the kidnapping are being probed. So operationally, there has been deep compromise within the military. And operationally too, and legally too, the military has no business in internal security.
That's what some people have been alleging.
Exactly.
That it's
an exclusive prerogative of the police. So we've gone to the point where unconstitutionally we have compelled the military to engage an area that they may not be trained for, so to say. You know, because we are talking of guerrilla warfare now. In fact, the military is expected to defend the territorial integrity of the country, you know. So, and now you can see that the police has been sidelined from this. And again, it's embarrassing. And it's part of the operational aspect of it, that out of about 370,000 police officers that we have in the country, about 100,000 have been assigned to VIPs. And so how many are left? And what the United Nations keeps mentioning is that it should have one police officer to 450 citizens. So where are we? You see? So these are issues. And really, you can imagine that during the tenure of former President Muhammadu Buhari, we spent so much buying Tucano jets from the US. But the reality now is that there is an insinuation that these terrorists may be more equipped than the nation.
If you listen to the what the vice principal of that school in Niger State said yesterday, she said they came with helicopter. She said they had helicopter hovering over the school, that they were hearing the sound.
Exactly. So
talking about them being well equipped.
In fact, during the tenure of former President Muhammadu Buhari, they brought out a fighter jet. They brought out a fighter jet. They went as far as desecrating part of the Nigerian Defense Academy in Kaduna. They even breached the territorial sanctity of the Federal Capital Territory. At the time, they threatened to kidnap President Muhammadu Buhari, and now they have even threatened to kidnap our president. So it's embarrassing. And you see, there is an angle to this. I think, and you asked the question, the political angle to it.
Yeah.
If you don't take out the sponsorship, you cannot take out the action. See, in Dubai, 6 sponsors of Boko Haram were identified, investigated, apprehended, prosecuted, and all jailed. Some to life imprisonment, some to 10 years, and they were deported. And all of them are Nigerians. And Nigeria is the victim of their activities. And I read that report. They even mentioned some names of some high-profile Nigerians in that racket. Let's even assume no name was mentioned. Intelligence-wise, you can profile these characters. Okay, how do they send the money to Nigeria? Who receives the money on their behalf? And things like that. And surround and round up these, their allies. But what did we have? Chief Lai Mohammed, who was the minister, came out to say the government has identified over 400 sponsors of Boko Haram. I just read in less than 24 hours that the government is ready, may name the sponsors. I mean, if we say we are serious, then I need an English teacher to help me out. You see, so, and that is the problem. And again, I have also read that the illegal mining in Nigeria is another source of insecurity. Because they must cover out their tracks, they must protect their business interests, make it so hard for the law enforcement agents to approach. You see, so we are losing revenue, resources that should prosper the nation to some. And there are reports. They mine this thing, ferry it abroad, make so much money. So you now ask the question, what will they use that money for? If not to sponsor crime against the land. We have those who are stealing our crude oil, you know, in the Niger Delta region and things like that. So the government must rise up. And again, back to the legal domain. Section 15, subsection 5 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended states clearly that the state shall abolish corrupt practices and abuse of office. In fact, there are some in office who have been fingered as having bias for terrorism. You see, look at this open reality. Sheyi Gumi went in to see these bandits, took photographs with them. The former governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, said that they were in communication with them. At the time, he said that he went after the Fulanis to pay them not to embark on reprisal attacks. People have spoken. At the time, the United States government fingered Pantami as having bias for. So these things are there. So you, even the former president of Nigeria, Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, came out to say there were Boko Haram elements in his government. And that is why this operation is so difficult. I mean, in fact, there are deeper conspiracies. You know, some are still asking how the chief of army staff that crashed in the aircraft, how that happened. So it's a, but the government should not be presented as a lazy or lame or overwhelmed government. That is why I appreciate what our president, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, whom I respect so much, is doing right now. rejig, and not just to rejig, to ensure that they perform. It's very important. And ensure that those who are given these assignments are in touch with the professional skills. For instance, Matawali has been a politician all through. So what is he doing as Minister of State in Defense? The minister just resigned now.
Yeah.
Exactly. Who has been governor? Bring in those who can really carry out the desired results.
Are those some of the reforms urgently needed right now? When we talk of this issue of security, policing, and intelligence, because I know those are the 3 points where, when you talk about the fight against insecurity, some definite things be done.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Nuhu Ribadu, the National Advisor on Security, has told us that there is now a stronger collaboration with the USA, the UK, and some foreign countries to help them. If it's intelligence, America is 13 hours flight from Lagos in Nigeria. And America probably knows more about Nigeria in terms of data, in terms of intelligence, in terms of than Nigeria, except Nigeria is pretending. You see, they have said that some governors are involved, some judges are involved in the terrorism, sponsoring, that some law enforcement agents are involved. They have their, and that's why they came out to declare Nigeria as a country of particular concern, to go after their assets, ban them from flying into the US. I mean, Sheikh Gumi is a revered Muslim cleric. Saudi Arabia is a community of Islam. He was sent back from the airport in Saudi Arabia in this 2020. He was not allowed to enter Saudi Arabia, and yet he's moving around freely here. So it says a lot about us. You see? So, and do you hear that they are vandalizing pipelines or kidnapping in Saudi Arabia? And, so it's a call to a reawakening. And if you look at the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations that was activated in 2015 and will be evaluated in 2030, otherwise called 2030 Agenda, there's a provision for partnership. And America, in fact, Donald Trump said, don't worry, we will come and help you. And some are saying they are coming to attack Nigeria. No, they know the enemies of the country. Yeah. And I'm glad our president and commander-in-chief of the armed forces, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has now said that the government is ready for the enemies of the country. If you know them, if you don't take them out, they take you out.
Yes.
Before the last 65th independence anniversary of Nigeria, we read that there was a planned coup. Thank God it did not succeed. So what would have happened? So if you know your enemies and you are hugging them, it's up to you.
All right, so on Monday at the Northern Governors Forum meeting, they started talking more seriously about having state policing. It usually was the agitation of the Oduduwa from the Southwest Zone asking for state policing. But right now, for one thing they have not done before is what they are asking for now. So like the agitation has gone to the northern parts of the country, soliciting for state policing. Do you agree at this point that it's one of the reforms that should be taken seriously in the fight against insecurity?
Thank you very much for that brilliant question. You see, the Chinese have a maxim that the best time to have planted a tree was 20 years ago. The next best time is now. Let's go into history. Early enough, when we gained our political independence in 1960, became a republic in 1963, we had regional policing. The history of police in Nigeria dates back to 1820. But the foundation then was for the consular powers to raise those who will defend them, protect them and their businesses. And in 1888, the Royal Niger, then that in the Delta region, that of Lagos, and they all merged in, I think, in 1930 to become the Nigerian Police Force and things like that. So, and after independence, it was now nationalized, maybe for political considerations. And we have 36 states in this country. Even when you have 36 commissioners of police, they are only answerable to the Inspector General of Police, who is at the center.
Yeah.
The governors, the best they can do is support the operations, like Lagos is doing brilliantly, supporting RRS and, you know. So, and some politicians have argued that no, governors will take advantage. Here we are now. Maybe because Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is taking a bold step like he did by removing the fuel subsidy, you know, and closing the gaps in the forex windows, merging everything together. They are now being exposed. They've seen, in fact, I read the feedback from that northern governors, 19 governors, they are meeting. They have even stated that the northern part of the country is facing extinction because there is poverty, there is insecurity, there is the Almighty, exactly, and that what they have failed to do, they must do. You don't have a choice. The Bible says, "He who sows the wind must be prepared to reap whirlwind." Boko Haram started around 2002. It was Mohammed Yusuf that started it in Maiduguri. It was when he was taken out in 2009 that everything became so violent. And what was he out to do? Through his ideology, to Islamize Nigeria, to wipe out Western education, that Western education is corruption, you know. So these are issues. And here we are now. The Islamic State of West Africa has come in, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and all the foreign. I even understand there may be about 20 terrorist groups that have operational interest in Nigeria. You see, there was a time that there was a direct flight from Sudan to Kano. And you know, Sudan was the base of Osama bin Laden in recent, you know, so these are issues. And these terrorists, they invest heavily. It's like a mono project assignment, you know, because you see how this will operate and you wonder, hey, what is going on? You see, so those are the issues. And I've said it over and over, and it's documented. Even someone who became the president of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, said in 2013 that clamp down on Boko Haram is injustice to the North. So the Northern governors are saying it now. I did a research. The 10 poorest states in Nigeria, about 9 of them are from the North. Okay. About 9, you see. So you can see the embarrassment now.
So if now it's the right time for them to push for this same agitation,
we hope.
Of
state policing, we help. And I clap for Lagos State Center of Excellence. Lagos is ready. You know, see now, the president, while withdrawing the VIPs police, has opened up the space of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps. Let's go back to the history of this corps. It started in 1967 during the Civil War, just to protect the people in Lagos. You know, Lagos was the capital of Nigeria then, and sensitize the people, just like we have LASMA to control traffic in Lagos. And in 1970, it was absorbed to national relevance. So you can see, so Lagos has neighborhood watch and this. I spoke about support for the police the other time. If you see the RRS in Lagos, it's not Lagos police. It's the Nigerian police supported by Lagos State. And that's why majority of them are running to Lagos. There are some local government chairmen in the north who live in Victoria Island. They only go to pick up their allocation and they fly out. They cannot stay in their communities. No. Let's secure this country. I want to be free to move anywhere. I've gone to almost all the...
I'm sure you went driving.
I've been in South
You won't try that now.
I've been in South Koto, in Arugungu. Augi is far inside. I've been in Augi, Argungu, I've been in Maiduguri, I've been in Jos, I've been in Kaduna, I've been in Bochi, I've been to Arochukwu, Oka, Aba, I've gone through Nigeria, Makurudi, everywhere, and then, but none of those states can compare to my hometown, the capital of the world, Okakoko in Ondo State.
All right, so another offshoot of this issue of insecurity is the international attention that Nigeria got, in the last few weeks. I've really been in the eye of the storm. So let's talk about doing something differently in foreign policy. And so the president came up with the ambassadorial list. In fact, before that list came out, many people did not know that Nigeria actually didn't have ambassadors.
Some of us knew.
So, it was like something shrouded in so much secrecy. So it came to light that, hey, we didn't even have an ambassador to the US. So the president came up with a list, and so many people have been saying that list is more like a try to recompense some people for their faithfulness to the party. What's your take on that?
Thank you very much. You see, my knowledge of political science brings me now to the sport of strategy. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, our president, is a strategist. I'm not holding brief for him. Maybe that was done intentionally to position it towards 2027, that who will be my foot soldiers. Yeah, because it appears now that almost every policy formulation or implementation are politically driven. That's why they talk of political concentration, And now a situation has compelled us to do what should have been done. You see, and even that list is so controversial now. You even mentioned the issue of compensation. In fact, some have cried out within APC that this compensation formula is odd, that you are not recognizing. I have listened to, it's of blessed memory now, who went on international TV to accuse the president that he's ungrateful, this and that. During the tenure of former President Muhammadu Buhari, you saw Aisha Buhari also coming out to say that those who are now here are not those who struggled for this victory. So that is political. But then we need these ambassadors to represent us. You see, on the scale of delegation, there was a time that Moses became King God, attending to all, judging all the cases, and the father-in-law did not want his daughter to become a widow suddenly. He went to him that, Moses, appoint men. You are not the only one that can carry this anointing. Appoint men. And he obeyed. There are those who can work for you. And that is why some of us were shocked to see Wike going to sites before he was confronted by a naval officer. I mean, you don't have any business going to sites. Speak from your office. And that is why we are also driving an advocacy for respect for the rule of law. It's abnormal for the president to give instruction to the service chiefs that wipe out insecurity, and we are still debating it. We are still debating it. I still read that the Inspector General of Police has now said if they see any police with VIPs, they should be arrested. That instruction alone, police, are you the one that recruited yourself? I mean, as a chief superintendent of police, I know that you have to obey. It's order. There is orderliness within that system. So that is another area we need to work on. We should not allow some citizens to just become so elated and say they are untouchables. Honorable Dele Alake, when he became minister, this mineral resources, I'm sure he must have been thinking aloud, but the journalist caught it, that powerful people are behind illegal mining. Who are these powerful people? You see, so those are the issues. You appoint credible people that can go out there, represent the interests of the nation, project the brand that we we proudly have to present to the world. So that list is still there. It's meant to go to at least the first batch to go to the National Assembly. And we also expect that the Senate will screen. And of course, the Senate has the prerogative not to approve or to approve. And we hope it won't be.
Has the Senate disapproved of anyone?
Yeah.
Before?
Yes. The Senate did not allow Nasir El-Rufai to become a minister.
All right, so.
And I hope it should be taken about.
Okay, so at this point, which countries do you think Nigeria should be strategically aligning with on all fronts? I know so many countries have said, okay, we'll be part of this and that, but being strategic now in this fight against insecurity.
United States of America is there. When some said the USA is after our resources, I just laughed. I laughed, gently. Because we are talking of a frontline economic power in the world. We have 4 refineries that are not maximally functional. Let me be generous. America has over 130 functional refineries. They have oil reserves they have not even touched, 24/7 electricity. They have their challenges, but not where we are. So don't just bring that. And that is what you get quickly from those who have been running helter-skelter. Donald Trump knows where to get them. So Nigeria should align with America. You see, China has a special interest in Nigeria.
Russia also said they would like to be part of...
And let Russia likes war. So let them just sit down and face Ukraine. When they finish their war with Ukraine, then let them now see how, they can help Nigeria, you see. And if you talk of China, I want to ask the question, since Chinese have been coming to Nigeria, what really has the country benefited? If they are not benefiting more, they generate projects, they give us the loan, they bring their citizens to come and carry out the projects. There was a time when there was an explosion in Oyo State. It was discovered some Chinese were trying to mine, but I leave the intelligence law enforcement to question their interest in Nigeria. And we have some African countries that are almost mortgaged. Even America is not giving China that level of space that we are giving. So if China is now jumping up to say no, then France needs Nigeria more than Nigeria needs France. That's the truth of the matter. We are not francophone, we are anglophone. So then the UK, yes, they colonized us, but then the UK has been making some statements. For instance, the prisoner exchange treaty we signed in 2014. Nigeria tested it recently, asking for Ekweremadu to be released to come to Nigeria to start to complete his prison term. But the UK turned it down. So the UK may not be, but for America, I think Donald Trump personally has a strong hatred for terrorism. And he has demonstrated it across the world. And on the flip side also is a man who does not delight in killings. He told Israel, I don't like these killings. You can see how he's bringing truce to the Gaza Strip and that, so, and that would be my advice. And of course, when you are talking about making your people have a sense of patriotism, you can learn that from America, you see. So we need good governance in this land. And so how we advise, and I'm glad that the president is reaching out. He has sent a delegation to the U.S. to go and we should be happy that the U.S. Congress left their own. Do you know that even while this was going on, there was a shutdown, government shutdown in the U.S. And I don't think many people read about that. So they have their problems and they are saying, no, let's focus on how to help Nigeria. It should be a very sweet dream for Nigerians if we can tame insecurity in this land.
All right. Thank you so much for your insights, sir, for joining us on this talk about the state of the nation. It is a continuing conversation. We cannot stop talking about the state of the nation because issues keep evolving and every week we have something coming up. So this is a continued conversation which will continue in another episode of the program. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome. God bless
And thank
Nigeria.
you, and thank you, our viewers, for staying with us on the conversation. It has been a deep dive into the state of the nation. We'll go on to the next edition of, the next package on Summit, which we bring to you weekly, talking about development strides of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu in Lagos State. Please enjoy that package and join us again for another edition of Summit. I am Jumoke Michaels. Bye-bye.